Revealed. The incredible day your TV became a window to amazing aliens, a heartwarming journey. Jake had always been a scrappy mechanic, battling every day against the backdrop of a small Midwestern town where dreams felt a little too far out of reach. His daughter, Lily, with her fiery red hair and relentless imagination, brought a light into their somewhat ramshackle home. Most evenings, as Jake worked tirelessly on cars, he would steal glances at Lily glued to her favorite sci-fi show where aliens fought for justice and acceptance in the cosmos. It was a story that resonated deeply within both of them. One seemingly ordinary evening, with grease-stained hands and a tired back, Jake attempted to fix their old television set, its flickering screen mirroring his own fears. Just one more spark, he muttered, coaxing the device as Lily watched on, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Suddenly, in a startling flash, the screen transformed, unveiling a swirling portal of colors and shapes that dazzled their senses. Jake's heart raced as they were pulled into a surreal alien world, leaving their everyday struggles and routines behind. The vibrant land engulfed them, filled with creatures struggling against their own challenges. Jake's heart swelled as he observed their plight, a vivid reflection of the same spirits he saw in his town. In this whimsical yet unsettling realm, Jake felt the weight of his own inadequacies pushing down on his chest. "What can I do here?" he whispered, but the answer wasn't immediately clear. On the other hand, Lily, wide-eyed with wonder, responded, "We helped them, Dad, just like the shows." As they navigated through hilarious misadventures and met various alien beings, each with their own stories of hardship, Jake couldn't shake the memory of Mrs. Thompson, their neighbor and community advocate. Her spirit and tenacity had always felt distant to him. But there, amidst the chaos, her teachings resonated stronger than ever. In tackling social injustices in this alien realm, he began to realize that the pain back home was not so different from what transpired here. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Every encounter ignited a fire in Jake. He realized he wasn't just an observer. His heart ached as he felt compelled to stand up. In a moment of clarity, standing before an alien council demanding unity, he felt the weight of generations rest upon his shoulders. Could he choose to retreat to the safety of his troubles, or rise to answer their call for justice, pushing against every doubt that had ever held him back? As he glanced at Lily, her eyes wide with hope and belief, a wave of resolve surged within him. Just then, a tremendous force shook the ground, a final reminder that the most important change begins at home. Would Jake lean into this moment, confronting the social injustices that had kept his family struggling, or allow fear to keep him chained? The screen behind them flickered ominously again, teasing a revelation that could forever alter their fates. Jake felt the tremor beneath him, a reminder that he was standing at a crossroads. All at once, the swirling colors of the portal began speaking, forming tangible words that echoed through his mind. "Choose, Earthling. Your courage defines your path." The alien council, an assorted mix of shapes and sizes, their eyes shimmering with anticipation, looked at him with hope. Jake's pulse quickened. Could he really be the one to make a difference? Lily, sensing her father's hesitation, reached out and squeezed his hand tightly. "We have to help them, Dad," she urged, her voice full of unwavering belief. It was difficult for Jake to ignore the bravery she exuded. It lit a spark within him. As he locked eyes with the council, a gentle creature with iridescent skin stepped forward. "There is a creature named Zoltar who threatens our unity. He spreads fear among us, causing division. We need your strength to stand against him." Jake glanced at Lily again. Her cheerfulness mixed with a hint of worry made his heart ache. The alien world might have its own dangers, but what he saw reflected in Lily's eyes was the same spirit of resilience he cherished in their own community. The image of Mrs. Thompson's unwavering fight for justice flickered through his mind. If she can do it, why can't I? With newfound determination, Jake took a deep breath. All right, we'll help you. Tell me what we need to do. The council erupted with cheers, the room vibrating with hope. They explained his task. Zoltar was residing in a cave beyond the bioluminescent forest, where he sowed seeds of discord. It was a treacherous journey. The forest was alive with mischief, designed to disorient and separate. But Jake's resolve didn't waver. He owed it to Lily, and to every creature dreaming of unity and peace. As they set off, the forest loomed tall and ethereal. Colors pulsed around them, vivid purples and greens wrapped like a blanket, while sounds of distant echoes intertwined with the rustling leaves. Despite the chaos swirling inside him, Jake shared stories with Lily about their small town, how they had always stood by each other, or how Mr. Johnson fixed his roof after that bad storm. The warmth of camaraderie ignited the way forward. Suddenly, a strange flicker caught Jake's attention. The trees began to shift. Shadows darted in and out. "Stay close, Lily," he whispered, feeling a knot of anxiety tighten in his stomach. Just as they took another step, a piercing cackle pierced the air. Zoltar stood before them, a ghastly figure wrapped in shadows, his eyes glowing menacingly. "What do we have here? A human brave enough to face me?" he taunted. His voice dripped with malice. Jake's heart raced. He remembered his own struggles, the fight for better days. With every ounce of strength, he stepped forward, holding his ground against the dark figure. "We stand for unity, not fear." For a moment, silence hung in the air. Then, Zoltar's laughter echoed through the forest. But this time it felt different, unclear. The changes in the air were palpable. Would fear retreat, or would it take hold firm? As they faced this moment of truth, Jake realized the only thing that mattered was what lay within him and the strength Lily carried in her heart. Would they find the courage to confront Zoltar together, or would they be ensnared in his web of chaos? With determination, they prepared to fight back. What drastic revelation awaited them? Would they rise victorious, or would darkness devour hope once more? Jake felt a surge of energy as he stood firm, readying himself for whatever Zoltar had in store. The eerie laughter faded, replaced by a chilling silence that filled the space between them. The forest buzzed with tension. Lily, eyes wide and unwavering, mirrored the determination inside him. Jake could feel her quiet strength coursing through him like a lifeline. "Unity," Zoltar sneered, lifting a shadowy arm with a flick of his wrist. Suddenly, tendrils of darkness slithered toward them, reaching like greedy hands. Their cold touch brushed against Jake's skin, making him shudder. Jake's heart thudded louder than the rustling leaves. How could he fight against something this dark and intangible? But then Lily stepped closer to him, her small hand clutching tightly onto his. "We're not afraid of you," she shouted, vibrant defiance spilling from her lips. The council's encouragement echoed in Jake's mind, weaving a tapestry of hope and bravery. He swallowed hard, channeling everything he felt for his daughter and the alien creatures who looked to him for salvation. With a quick intake of breath, Jake swept his arm defensively in front of Lily. "We stand together," he called into the suffocating darkness, each word forging a bridge of connection between him, Lily, and the world around them. As he spoke, a radiant light emerged from within him, wrapping around them like a warm embrace. It pulsed brightly, a counter to the shadows. Zoltar's laughter halted, replaced by an expression of surprise and anger. "Foolish human, you think you can fight fear with light?" Zoltar's voice was raspy, each syllable like a swirl of smoke. Yet, Jake felt the truth of his own words settle in his bones. "We can trust each other," Jake yelled back, channeling his own fears into the light. "Fear divides, but love brings us together." With a powerful thought, Jake released his hand, sending the energy forward. The light exploded outward, pushing the darkness back, revealing the colors of the forest around them once more. Vivid hues sprang to life like fireworks, forcing Zoltar to stumble back, his form wavering under the attack of Jake's conviction. Jake's breath quickened as he felt the energy shift. The creatures of the forest joined him, their own lights igniting in response. They were chanting now, their voices melding into a beautiful harmony that filled the air. Together, they expanded the light, creating a barrier that pressed against Zoltar's sinister form. Confusion flickered across Zoltar's face as desperation twisted his features. "No, you cannot banish me. I am fear made flesh." But as he retreated, slowly encased in the vibrant glow, Jake felt an unexpected pang of empathy. Was fear truly all Zoltar was? Perhaps deep down, even he longed for connection. "Let go of your darkness," Jake shouted, feeling the weight of his own fears transform into compassion. "Join us instead." The shadows around Zoltar began to writhe, unsure how to respond. Jake could see the flicker of humanity behind those glowing eyes. But would Zoltar accept the light or succumb to the depths of his own darkness? The air crackled with charged energy, the outcome hanging in the balance. Jake glanced back at Lily, whose eyes filled with uncertainty and hope alike. They were both ready for change, but could Zoltar find the strength to do the same? As the moment stretched, one question pulsed louder than the rest. Could Jake's light truly reach a heart so enshrined in fear? Would Zoltar rise with them? Or would darkness swallow the light once more? A hushed stillness wrapped around them, the charged air thick with expectation and hesitation. Jake felt his heart race, the pulse of uncertainty reverberating through him. He had thrown everything he had into this moment, a blend of light and love, longing for Zoltar to change. Zoltar's form shuddered, the darkness swirling in a chaotic dance as if caught in a storm. "You think you can change me?" He sneered, though his confidence wavered. "I was born from fear, nurtured by despair. Fear can be unlearned." Lily's voice rang out, bright and clear, cutting through the shadows. It wrapped around Zoltar's words, a promise of something different, something brighter. "You can choose a different path." Jake could feel the energy shift again, a tug-of-war between light and dark that echoed within him. What if Lily was right? What if Zoltar was ready to see differently? The thought surged through him, filling him with resolve. "Zoltar," Jake's voice burst forth, strong and unwavering. "You don't have to be alone in your darkness. You can find a new way." Zoltar faltered, eyes narrowing as he grappled with the unfamiliar emotion stirring within. "What do you know of despair?" Jake stepped forward, compelled to reach out. "More than you can imagine. We all face fear, but together, shoulder to shoulder, we can create something more beautiful." The shadows that enveloped Zoltar began to flicker, battling against the vibrant light. "You do not understand," he began, but the fight in his voice was fading. "I do understand," Jake pressed on, confident now. "I understand that even the darkest pain can give way to light. I felt its weight and I know it can be lifted." Sweat beaded on Jake's brow as the light brightened, filling the space with colors dancing wildly. The serene hum of the forest creatures rose, harmonizing in a soothing melody that seemed to pulse with new life. The barrier they created shimmered and swirled, an invitation rather than a threat. Lily watched, her breath caught in anticipation. "Let us help you," she implored softly, her small frame standing firm beside her father. "You can let go of the fear that holds you back." As the darkness flickered around Zoltar, Jake caught a glimpse, a painful instant where he saw the monster naked, raw, just a being searching for a place to belong. His heart ached at the sight. "Join us," Jake shouted, conviction woven deep into every word. "You're not just fear. You can be so much more." Zoltar flinched, shadows twisting and writhing around him. Then, for a brief moment, the dark contours of his form started to blur. Was it a trick of the light? "No," he howled, his voice a mix of rage and desperation. "I cannot change. I am what I am." "But that's not the truth," Jake insisted, a warmth blooming within him as the light shone brighter. "Change is always possible. Even for you. In this moment, fear can transform into something greater." Zoltar hesitated, doubt creeping into the depths of his voice. The shadows around him flickered once more, an echo of hope battling against a lifetime of despair. Suddenly, with a mighty roar, Zoltar reared back, ready to surge forward. But Jake and Lily would not back down. Holding each other's hands, they anchored their resolve against the tide of darkness. Thinking of hope and love, Jake summoned the full power of the light within him. Would Zoltar embrace it, or would fear win again? Jake felt the answer ripple through the air, a profound moment hanging in the balance. What choice would Zoltar make in his crucial hour of reckoning? And as the conflict surged, the light pulsated with uncontainable energy. Could it finally make a difference in Zoltar's heart? The air crackled with tension as Zoltar's dark form hung in the balance. Jake and Lily could feel it, a change teetering on the edge, a moment ripe with the possibility of new beginnings or sinking further into despair. With one shared glance, they reinforced their grip on each other's hands, steadying the growing light between them. "Please, Zoltar," Jake called, his voice gentle yet firm, like a lifeline thrown in a raging sea. "You don't have to fight this alone. Trust us. We can show you the way." Zoltar hesitated, the shadows around him writhing like a living entity, questioning, threatening. "Trust? I was betrayed long ago," he spat, the bitterness in his voice echoing through the clearing. "Trust is for the weak." "No," Lily chimed in, her voice unwavering. "Trust is for those who dare to believe in something better. We all carry our past scars, but we're not defined by them. You can choose to break free." As she spoke, bright threads of light began to seep through the cracks of Zoltar's shadowy facade. It flickered like a failing light bulb, one moment dim, the next radiantly bright. A dance of turmoil played out for them to witness. "Look at yourself," Jake shouted, urgency pushing him forward. "You're fighting against the very essence of who you could be. Yes, you've been hurt, but don't you see? Those wounds don't have to dictate your future." For a heartbeat, the darkness around Zoltar faltered, rippling like water disturbed by a pebble. Jake caught sight of the creature he had glimpsed before being lost, a heart aching for acceptance, struggling against the weight of its own existence. "Remember when you were not just fear?" he implored. "What if you could start again?" Zoltar's rage dimmed, hesitation creeping into the edges of his voice. I don't know how." Lily stepped closer, her small frame towering with unyielding spirit. "Then let us show you. Let us help you find the light within the darkness." And now, there was a flicker in Zoltar's eyes, something buried deep, a spark of the warmth that shadows had long extinguished. Jake felt hope surge through him. The possibility of change was almost tangible. "Let go of your past fears," Jake said, his voice breaking slightly with emotion. "You can embrace a brighter future if you let us lift you from this despair." The shadows began to collapse inward, constricting Zoltar's form, but he fought. "No, I don't deserve this light. But you do. Everyone does." Lily's declaration rang like a bell, clear and certain, cutting through the chaos surrounding them. "You have to be willing to receive it." A sudden stillness engulfed the space as Zoltar's once chaotic shadows began to waver, uncertain. In that heartbeat of silence, the world seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the choice that lingered in the air. Jake felt his heart pounding, sweat glistening on his forehead. This was it, the moment everything hinged on. Each breath seemed to echo with anticipation, the line between fear and acceptance raw and frayed. "Please," Jake whispered, "choose to be free." The shadows around Zoltar flickered, and then, in a flash, they surged toward Jake and Lily, tumbling like a dark wave crashing against a shore of light. But the light fought back with renewed vigor, ready to welcome Zoltar into its embrace. As the two forces collided, the ground vibrated beneath their feet. Would Zoltar choose to emerge into the light, or would the shadows reclaim him? The outcome was teetering just out of reach. Jake swallowed hard as everything converged, uncertain of what lay ahead. Whatever it was, he felt they were on the brink of something monumental. Would it be a new dawn or a heartbreaking end? The darkness surged forward, swallowing the light in a maelstrom of indigo and shadow. Jake clenched Lily's hand tighter, feeling the pulse of each other's heartbeats merge into a singular rhythm of hope and fear. They braced for the impact, a collision of lights and shadows that would define not only Zoltar but their own destinies as well. Suddenly, The shadowy wave hesitated, as if caught between two worlds. Zoltar's form flickered, wavering between the oppressive weight of despair and the ethereal glow of possibility. Beneath the chaos, Jake noticed a flicker in the depths of Zoltar's eyes, a glimmer that felt like a forgotten spark of joy. "Zoltar!" Jake shouted, pouring every ounce of emotion into the name. "You are not just darkness. You are also the light that can shine through it. Let it out." With every word, the shadows shrank back, as if responding to the command of hope. The air pulsed with energy, the scent of earth and rain mixing with something brighter like spring after a long winter. Zoltar shuddered, trapped in a battle more profound than the physical clash at hand. "I've lost too much," Zoltar's voice shook, vulnerable now. "What if I cannot become who you say I can?" Then came an unexpected moment, a whisper from deep within, the echo of an old memory. "What if you could?" Lily's voice was soft but carried a weight that made the shadows tremble. "Picture it, Zoltar. Imagine feeling the warmth of friendship, a sense of belonging." For an instant, the darkness faltered, and a wound began to unravel, the shadows peeling back as if in response to the very idea of hope. Jake felt a surge of unity, his heart ached with compassion, wishing for Zoltar to know he wasn't alone. "Let us carry the weight together," Jake implored, taking a step forward, urging Zoltar to trust just a bit more. "No more shadows if you don't want them. Just a chance to start again. You deserve that." Every word was filled with conviction. A flicker of possibility danced in the space between them, a fragile thread weaving its way through the shadows. Zoltar's form trembled, the struggle visible across every contour of his being. "Can I?" Zoltar began, his voice breaking. "Can I still be me without the hate?" Lily nodded, her face illuminated with determination. "You can be so much more. You are more than your past, more than despair. You can be light." The dark tide paused, caught between the raw emotions spilling from Jake and Lily and the ancient shadows that clung to Zoltar. Seconds stretched thin, the world holding its breath, waiting for the inevitable. Then the shadows shivered. A beautiful fissure formed within the darkness as, against all odds, a ray of light pierced through. It blossomed as Zoltar's form began to transform, first timid whispers of light, then stronger, bolder waves. Jake's heart raced, pounding in perfect sync with the rhythm of potential. And then, the light overwhelmed, swirling around Zoltar like a vibrant cocoon. Golden threads filled the air as darkness retreated, losing its grip. "Zoltar!" Jake shouted, his voice filled with exhilaration. "You are free." But just as Zoltar seemed to embrace the transformation, a shadow, a lingering doubt split through the radiant cocoon. A familiar voice echoed faintly from the depths. "You will never escape me." The expression on Zoltar's visage twisted, caught between rising hope and that old familiar fear. It loomed near, threatening to pull Zoltar back into darkness. Jake's breath halted. What could they do now? They'd reached a pivotal moment. But what if the shadows won? Would Zoltar be forever trapped in this battle of light and dark? The tension thickened in the air, heavy with unanswered questions. "Stay strong, Zoltar. Fight it," Lily shouted, her eyes wide with desperation. But as the shadows reformed, ready to reclaim their prize, Jake realized something crucial. This was not just about Zoltar's fight. It was about their own, too. Would they stand still and watch, or would they charge in, together, to face the darkness that threatened to sweep away all they had worked for? They were ready. But at what cost? As the tension mounted, Jake looked at Lily, the urgency of their unspoken connection ramping up in his chest. They were staring at Zoltar, a being on the brink of transformation. Yet the shadows loomed like dismal clouds ready to pour rain on their parade. The battle had become a symphony of uncertainty, with hope and despair each holding their breath, waiting for just a moment too precious to grasp. "Zoltar!" Jake pushed his voice forward, his heart racing as he reached for the fading cocoon of light. "You can do this. We believe in you." His words echoed with the strength of conviction, an anchor in the tempest of chaos surrounding them. But the shadows receded only momentarily, a persistent whisper creeping back. "They cannot save you. You are mine." Zoltar winced, his once majestic form now caught in the throes of a painful internal struggle. "I don't want this anymore," he gasped. "But what if my darkness is all I have left?" Jake stepped forward, locked in the gaze of the shadowy tendrils morphed into accusing fingers. "Your past doesn't define you, Zoltar. It's the choices you make now that matter. You can choose light. You can choose us. We're here no matter what." Lily, filling the space with warmth, added, "You are not alone. Together we can be stronger than any shadow." They both made a movement, like a dance choreographed in desperate unison. They took a solid step toward Zoltar, not wavering against the creeping darkness. With each step, Zoltar's form flickered again, straddling the perilous line between light and despair. A brilliant flicker of hope ignited in his eyes, pushing hard against the shadows encircling his heart. "You really believe that?" Zoltar's voice trembled, longing for validation. A flicker of the light just beyond reach. "More than anything," Jake affirmed, his heart pounding with a mix of fear and faith, each beat fueling his next words. "You can feel it starting to warm inside. Can't you? Let it grow. Embrace it." The shadows recoiled, roaring in frustration as Zoltar began to breathe deeply. With each inhalation, ancient battles waged within him, and yet, he drew forth the light that Jake and Lily had ignited. It poured in, flooding him with emotions vibrant and alive, unraveling the grip of the darkness piece by piece. "Fight back against it, Zoltar," Lily cried, and their voices united in a tapestry of defiance. The shadows shivered brooding, rattled by the unity that counteracted their isolation. "I choose to fight," Zoltar finally shouted, and with the declaration came a flash of incandescent purity. What had started as a fissure of light erupted into a cascade of brilliance, pushing back the impending dark. All around them the landscape transformed. Shadows fractured into 1,000 glittering shards that danced in mid-air, reflecting the raw, pure strength of newfound hope. Jake felt tears prick his eyes, the joy of freedom resonating deep within. But just as they began to sense victory, a thunderous crack rolled through the air, shaking the ground beneath their feet. The looming shadow took on a tangible form, clawing at Zoltar, who began to stumble back, the darkness refusing to yield. "No, you cannot take him," Jake yelled, stepping fiercely in front of Zoltar as if his very being could shield him from the pounding doubt. Together, Lily urged, her heart beating with urgency. "Together we can push this back once and for all." In that ultimate moment of connection, they formed a united front, their hearts a trio in harmony. Zoltar, reborn with newfound clarity, looked at Jake and Lily, and something extraordinary surged within him, a force that united their threads of hope. As they summoned the strength within, shadows clawing at Zoltar's light, Jake wondered if together they could truly banish the darkness once and for all. Would the shadows relent or fight fiercely to reclaim their grip? The answer hung in the air, charged with possibility and dread. Would they succeed in their final struggle against the dark? As the thunderous crack echoed, Zoltar teetered on the edge of despair. The shadows squeezed in closer, dark fingers stretching to reclaim their hold. But Jake's resolve only intensified. He felt a surge of courage, recognizing this moment as their greatest test. "Don't you dare give in," he shouted, his voice cutting through the tension like a knife. He reached out, grasping Zoltar's arm. "You're more than what they want you to be." From behind them, Lily stepped forward, her presence a beacon amid the chaos. "You are extraordinary, Zoltar. You have the power to break free." She squeezed Jake's shoulder, sharing the weight of hope between them as they stood together. With that strength, a flicker ignited deep inside Zoltar's core, its glow trembling but unyielding. He met their eyes, finding warmth in their faith. I will fight," he declared, his voice stronger now, shaking off the shackles of despair. As Zoltar focused on that flicker, the shadows launched an attack, swirling around him like a storm. But he was no longer its prisoner. He threw his head back, summoning the light. The brilliance surged from within, painting the air around him in vivid colors. It erupted in a shockwave, sending ripples through the ground beneath. The shadows recoiled, hissing in rage as they were pushed back. Zoltar's transformation was graceful and powerful, a dance conducted in raw emotion as he drew upon the hearts of his friends. Bold and defiant, the light wrapped around him, illuminating the battlefield. Now, together, Jake shouted, feeling the energy shift. He held out his hands, and Lily mirrored him, forming a triad of unwavering belief. They focused on Zoltar, urging him to let the light amplify even further. With a deep breath, Zoltar embraced their energy, letting it drown out the whispers of the darkness. In a moment of unity, their hearts beat as one. A vivid light burst forth, blinding and bright, pushing against the shadows closing in like a dark tide. Power surged through Jake like an electric current, washing away the fear that had gripped him. "We're here, Zoltar. We believe in you," he cried, feeling the laughter of the light join the chorus of their voices. The shadows shrieked in protest, twisting and swirling amidst the brilliance. They tried to crawl back towards Zoltar, using every trick to encroach upon the light. But with every step backward they took, the glimmer around him expanded, a protective dome wrapping tight. In that charged moment, Zoltar's raised hands pulsed with an energy that seemed to harmonize with the very elements around them. Wind whipped through the air, kicking up dust and debris as the light radiated, forcing the darkness back further. "Look, it's working," Lily gushed, tears of joy filling her eyes as she saw Zoltar transform fully, the shadows shrinking into pinpricks of nothingness. He was becoming the being he always was meant to be, vibrant, luminous, free from the weight of what held him back. But just as they sensed they were close to victory, a fierce wind howled through the valley, threatening to undo everything they rebuilt. Dark tendrils unfurled from the depths, rising up with a fierce intensity, twisting as they fought against the light threatening to dissolve them entirely. Zoltar sensed a final push coming. "I won't give up. I won't let them take me." His voice rang out, echoing determination. And that S when the shadows laughed, a sound dripping with malice. "You think this is the end? You have no idea what you face." The words hung heavy in the air, pressing against their hearts. Would they truly overcome this relentless darkness? Or was a greater challenge waiting to manifest? Hope hung on the edge of uncertainty, and as they gathered themselves for one last stand, Jake wondered if their bonds could withstand what was still to come. What awaited them in the depths of this struggle? The winds howled louder, slicing through the air like a warning siren. Jake felt the chill invade his bones, but he refused to let fear creep in. They had come too far, fought too hard. "Stay together," he shouted, gripping Zoltar's arm tighter. Lily mirrored his determination, her hands steady and ready. The darkness that swirled before them felt alive, writhing like a beast that sensed weakness. But they were warriors now, united, and they would not falter. Zoltar closed his eyes, breathing deeply as he focused on the light within him. He imagined every moment of kindness he'd ever felt, the laughter shared, the warmth of his friends, the love they had woven together. That light was his own, and it was bright enough to pierce through any shadow. As he opened his eyes, they gleamed like stars alight against the night sky. "Let us do this," he called out, feeling the energy pulsate through him, the bond with Jake and Lily fueling his resolve. The shadows danced around them, thick and menacing, pressing closer. "You're foolish to think you can escape," they hissed, their voices echoing with despair and thirst for revenge. The words dripped like poison, taunting their hopes. Yet, their hearts remained steadfast, the light radiant between them. "Fight back," Lily encouraged, her voice unwavering even amid the chaos. As she whispered her support, Zoltar felt the tendrils of darkness recoil. With gutsy courage, he thrust his hands forward, unleashing a wave of brilliance that pulsed outward like a heartbeat. Skyward, the light rocketed, carving a path against the swirling shadows. A magnificent beam grew, igniting the very essence of the valley around them. Jake felt invincible in that moment, the power flowing through him like a rushing river, fueled his voice. "We are not afraid." The shadows screamed in agony, thrashing against the light. Every strike felt like a battle cry, igniting hope within Jake, Lily, and Zoltar. They launched forward, surging into the heart of the darkness together. Each step was a testament to their unity, their friendship, and their refusal to succumb. But then, a dark shape broke free from the vortex, larger and more terrifying than they could imagine, a towering figure wrapped in shadows, its eyes burning with malevolence. "I am the darkness you failed to fear," it growled, every syllable vibrating with malice. "And I will consume every flicker of light." Jake stumbled back, his determination wavering for the first time as he gazed into the abyss. The figure loomed like a nightmare made flesh, its presence causing the air to thicken. Yet Zoltar stepped forward, defiance replacing Jake's moment of doubt. "We won't let you. You are nothing." His voice rang loud and clear, shaking the very ground beneath them. The stones vibrated with truth as light grew from Zoltar's resolute stance, scattering shadows in every direction. "Together," Lily shouted, reaching out her hand toward Jake. He grasped it fiercely, intertwining their fingers. They pulled Zoltar into their embrace, forming a protective circle, their hearts aligning to stand against the tide. The darkness roared, its fury echoing through the valley. "You think your flimsy bond can hold against me? Let me show you your true fear." But Zoltar felt it then, a deeper strength rising from within him, a bond stronger than even the severest rage. "This is our light. You cannot take it from us." As he shouted the declaration, a wave of power surged forth from their linked hands. A brilliant explosion of light surged toward the towering figure. They watched in awe as it connected, unraveling the darkness strand by strand, a haunting cry echoing out into the ether. With the shadow figure collapsing inward, they could feel a change in the air. Hope surged through Jake, powering their spirits. But was it enough to drive the darkness away for good? As the dust began to settle, everything felt heavier. The hollow sounds of the valley echoed back their breaths. It wasn't over yet, something deeper still lurked within the shadows. But could they face it together? What other trials would they have to endure to break free from this darkness forever? Each of them felt the weight of that question sink into their hearts, leaving a lingering fear even as they pressed forward. As the dust settled, a strange echo filled the air, a reminder that they hadn't seen the last of the darkness. Jake's heart raced, but he kept his grip firm on Lily and Zoltar. Together, they stood stronger than they ever had, embracing the light within each other. "What now?" Jake asked, his voice barely above a whisper, trembling with uncertainty. He peered into the vast emptiness surrounding them, every flicker of danger reflected in Zoltar's eyes. Lily's hand squeezed his tightly. "We take each step together, Dad. We can't back down now." Just as she spoke, a low rumble rolled through the valley, and the ground shook beneath them. Shadows stirred, writhing like angry snakes, coiling back together. The looming shadowy figure began to reconstitute itself, its grotesque features twisting. "Foolish mortals," the figure spat, its voice deep and reverberating off the trees. "I will rise again, stronger than ever. You cannot defeat the darkness within." Zoltar took a brave step forward, shaking off the remnants of despair that clung to him. "You're mistaken. Your darkness holds no power over us. We choose to fight." His voice rang out with courage, echoing through the clearing. Jake sensed Zoltar's conviction, surging like an electric current through him. "Together, we can show you how powerful unity can be. Even in the darkest times, love prevails." With those words, they formed a circle, intertwining their hands again, grounding themselves in their shared resolve. The energy swelled, shimmering like a beacon of hope, a vibrant light fusing their strengths, weaving their hearts together as one. "Let us show him the truth," Lily exclaimed, her eyes lit with determination. They focused on the light that pulsed bright within, summoning it forth. A brilliant wave radiated, washing over the darkness, casting idle shadows aside as the light surged into a roiling storm of brilliance. The colossal figure staggered, taken aback by the sudden ferocity. "No, this cannot be," it howled, but the light streaked brighter, pushing back against the walls that separated them. "Feel the light," Jake shouted, pouring every ounce of love and faith into their bond. It was no longer just about fighting. It was about belief. "Together, we can heal even the deepest fear." Lily focused on every moment they had shared, the laughter, the adventures, even the tough days when they just needed to sit in silence. This connection boosted their resolve, transforming fear into an unyielding force. Zoltar remembered the allies he made, the camaraderie, the friendships forged in adversity. It all fueled him, and with a mighty roar from within, he unleashed a surge of light so intense that it shattered the suffocating darkness. The shadow figure shrieked, the sound reverberating in a cacophony of despair as the light broke into a million pieces, each a flickering star against the night sky. But then another tremor exploded through the earth, unleashing remnants of shadow that threatened to overpower them. Together, they shouted in unison, a rallying cry that echoed across the valley. As they focused on their connection, an incredible force seemed to weave around them, twining their spirits together. They became a triad of brilliance, each pulse of light helping to illuminate the darkness that had plagued their world for so long. With one last cry, the overwhelming power surged forth from their hearts, a wave of brilliant energy washing over the evil being. Hope vibrated through the air as their light wrapped around the shadows, banishing them into nothingness. The enormous figure flickered, its form contorting in agony, and for a moment, doubt clouded its features. "No, you're not here," it cried out, and in one final burst of energy, Jake, Lily, and Zoltar locked their eyes to the future together. The darkness evaporated like mist in the sun, revealing a canvas of hope that filled the sky with colors never seen before. The shadows ceased to exist as the world around them was painted anew. Jake felt tears of joy mix with the laughter that erupted from Lily as they embraced Zoltar. "We did it," Zoltar exclaimed, his voice brimming with relief and joy. "I can finally feel it," Zoltar said with wonder, "the warmth of everything. Love, friendship, and hope." Amidst their laughter, Jake realized something profound. Their journey had transformed them all. Zoltar no longer the harbinger of fear, but a beacon of unity. Beyond just conquering the darkness, they had formed a bond that transcended worlds, a testament to the human spirit and the idea that even the fiercest despair can yield to light when hearts are united. "Together, we can face whatever comes next," Jake proclaimed, his heart swelling with pride. The battle had shaped them, but it was their love and strength that would guide them onward. In that moment of realization, each of them resolved to walk forward into the dawn, a new chapter ready to unfold. And as they stepped away from the remnants of fear, Jake held his head high, knowing that the journey continued not just for them, but for those back home who needed this newfound unity most of all. "Let us show the world," he said, glancing at Lily, whose eyes sparkled with unbridled joy, before turning to Zoltar. "Together we'll shine." In the warmth of that new light, they began to stride ahead, ready to embrace everything that was yet to come. And the future glimmered bright. This is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now to not miss out on more amazing stories like this. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us grow. Comment below with your feelings about this heartwarming ending. And make sure to share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to join our community. Show your love.